a slight variation on some of the previous problems. This time around, we are asked to find the coefficient of the x to the sixth, y to the fourth term, whatever that happens to be, in the expansion of 2x plus 7y equals 10. So right away, whenever I'm trying to find this, I probably want to figure out what term I'm on. So let's just kind of point out a few important things. We do see that our degree is 10. So right away, in terms of the coefficient, that's going to give us 10, choose something. So we're almost there. And then we kind of remember, if we are looking at this a little bit clearer, they already gave us the powers of the variables. We do have to be careful because they are not exactly the same as the first term and the second term in the binomial. We see that those are a little bit more complicated. So we do actually end up having to figure out what term we're on so that we can account for the coefficients, the 2 and the 7 at the beginning. However, this does give us a heads up as to what our second number, or sometimes we call it our R number, could be. If you remember, it always has to do with the second term. So we have 7y. And so if we are kind of expanding out, whatever our term happens to be, we're going to have 2x to some power. And we will also have 7y to some power. And lucky for us, we already see that that power of y is a 4. So it doesn't really matter that we didn't know the value of 7y to whatever power. We do know that it will be y to the 4th at the end. So we do know that we just fill in a 4. And so that gives us our second number in our coefficient part. We still have to continue finding the coefficients. However, we've also been given a clue about the x term as well. And I'll get down there in a second. The x term is taken to the power of 6. So if we were to multiply 2x to some power, if we're supposed to get an x to the 6th, that does give us our power of x, or our power of 2x. So what we're really looking at is trying to understand what the 2 to the 6th is. That's the new part. And I think I'll draw this in orange just so that we're trying to understand exponents. That would get multiplied by, well, how do we get y to the 4th? We still have to get 7 to the 4th power. So that's kind of the stuff we don't know about right away. We had to kind of work backwards to figure out our powers. But now that we have that, it is purely a calculator part. So might as well just take the term in tune. So I'll just kind of write another 10, choose 4 down right here, just in case. So let's pull out our TI. And I really want to know, what is 10, choose 4? And again, super cool way. Let's do, I think I need to share that screen with you so you see it. Let's just use our calculator, 10, math, scroll over to the probability menu, choose item number 3, combination, 10, choose 4, press enter. We got ourselves 210. The other items that I'd like to find while I'm here, I'd like to go 2 to the 6th, just because I want to plug that in. So that's the 64. And I also want to figure out what is 7 to the 4th power based on what I see in my screen. Okay, so let's go back. I'll copy that just so that we can see. We can refer back to it. See if it will copy for us. It always goes a little bit off, but I'll go with it. We'll move this over a little bit just so that I can refer to it. Perfect. So we already have 10 choose 4, which we figured out is 210. We did figure out that 2 to the 6th is 64. And we figured out, well, actually, the TI, I like to give credit where we can, is 2,401. So we are almost there. A little bit of properties. We're looking for we can just write out the term. We do know it's x to the 6th, y to the 4th. But now we just use our calculator to compute 210 times 64 times 2,401. And we do get a large number. So I'll write that down with you. And you can follow along on your TI if you wanted to. I kind of did it off to the side. I should have, write this down, 3, 2, 2, 6, 9, 4, 4, 0. So if we're looking for the coefficient, remember, we're not asked for the term. This is the term. By the way, the entire part is the term. The coefficient this would be the only part we'd have to enter. The coefficient is equal to, let's write this down, 3226, 9440. If we're trying to say this out loud as a number, that is 32,269,440. So this is the final answer that we would have to write down. I hope this helps, and I hope you've enjoyed this class. I hope to see you in one of my future classes.